do you expect it to happen in isolation with the small caps is what I'm getting? I know that Nvidia's done that. Some other stocks have done that themselves. But if you're talking about all of the small, the small caps as an index moving up that much, what do these other things do?
Well, I think that a 40% move in small caps doesn't mean the rest of the market goes down. I just think that's going to highlight that the market is broadening, which is something we all expect. But it's also basically doing a risk-reward analysis, which is, look, I think if you can get 18% earnings growth and pay 10 times earnings, perhaps that's a good risk-reward. And I think money that's on the sidelines or people who've been thinking bonds are going to be and cash is a place you want to stick for the next 5 years, but if the Fed starts cutting, they're going to look for places where there's good risk-reward, and I think that's small caps. Do
you need dramatic cuts for that thesis to pan out, or are there other potholes in the road that you see that threaten your thesis?
Well, a recession would be negative. I don't think the Fed has to make major cuts. It actually just has to. I think the market narrative that would be the best for small caps is the belief that real interest rates are too tight now, 5.5% versus inflation trending towards 2%, and getting rates back down to a neutral rate of 3%. If the market believes that, they don't need the cuts to be front-end loaded, but they have to believe we're going back towards neutral. I think that'd be a huge catalyst for small caps.
Hold on to your hats, stock market enthusiasts, because there's a buzz that's too electrifying to ignore. Reports have surfaced that CNB Bank has upped its stake in Nvidia, propelling the computer hardware giant further into the spotlight. With an investment surge of 8.2% in the third quarter, Nvidia has solidified its position as one of the top holdings for CNB Bank. But what could be driving this increased interest, and why is Nvidia such a hot commodity right now? Join us as we delve into the latest developments and market maneuvers surrounding this tech behemoth. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
Okay, now let me ask you about more about mega caps and about the consumer. How important, not necessarily just to small caps, but to the whole market narrative, will Nvidia earnings next week be?
Well, NVIDIA is really important because it's underpinning really what is driving the U.S. economy, which is a real push towards productivity, using basically digital tools and automation. That's a very important disinflationary trend. And of course, the U.S. companies, all of the big ones are all the U.S. I mean, it's a global phenomenon that benefits U.S. companies. So I think it's incredibly important. But NVIDIA, trading at 26 times forward earnings isn't that demanding a stock either. So it's not like I would say sell NVIDIA to buy small caps. I think NVIDIA is still a long-term buy.
For those who haven't yet caught wind of this market sensation, NVIDIA's ascent is akin to a thrilling roller coaster you can't help but get on. Behind the scenes of this giant success is a tale of strategic investment and calculated risks, things that any seasoned Wall Street tycoon would appreciate. Amongst the flurry of institutional backing, it's intriguing to note how hedge funds and high-profile investors are placing big and occasionally humorous bets on the company's future. Even Mark A. Stevens and NVIDIA's charismatic CEO Jensen Huang have shuffled their shares, hinting at internal maneuvers and a possible reshaping of strategies to keep the momentum up. When delving deeper, analysts are issuing ratings that are as bullish as ever. From D.A. Davidson's upbeat price target adjustments, aiming at $135 to Loop Capital's steadfast commitment with a $175 target, it's apparent that the sky's the limit. And let's not forget the standout prediction from Aaron Rakers, highlighting a whopping 30% upside predictions that add a spicy layer to NVIDIA's unfolding story. One might joke that if stocks were a fantasy game, NVIDIA would be wielding the lightning bolt of investor confidence. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with NVIDIA's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
What's your reaction to how the market is processed NVIDIA's numbers? It, of course, fell initially in the pre-market. Yesterday morning it was doing all right, and then it did close more meaningfully down by the end of the session yesterday.
Well, I think NVIDIA is one of these stocks that has become part of like a stock market lore. Almost everyone has a position. And I don't think the results and the earnings changed anyone's minds about AI and the central role it's playing in both global productivity, but also NVIDIA's role. But I think the sell-off tells you that a lot of good news was priced in. I think that's why the stock fell. It didn't take the broader market down. I think that was kind of a positive outcome, and I think it just shows you that there's room for a lot of rotation, and I think that it's revealing that small caps is one of the groups benefiting from that rotation.
Intriguingly, Nvidia's quarterly earnings report exceeded expectations by leaps and bounds, with an astounding 93.6% revenue increase compared to last year. When juxtaposed with fascinating analyst evaluations from platforms like Benzinga, it becomes clear why investors are clamoring to get a piece of the action. In the words of a tweet from a prominent market analyst, Nvidia is not just a stock, it's an evolution in motion. This has certainly added a compelling narrative angle as stakeholders navigate the volatile seas of Wall Street. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make. So if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Let's talk about that rotation, Tom, and the extent to which there's still a long way to go if you're looking at the valuations of some of those sectors that haven't done so well in recent months and years, or whether things have bounced enough across the board that you start to get a little bit concerned about valuations for the entire market, not just the Nvidias of this world.
Yeah, valuations are definitely something our clients are asking us about because, the equity markets have been rising for several years. But the idea of a rotation, I think, is grounded on a couple of things. One is that the Fed's rate path is lower, and that benefits cyclical stocks and small caps. And we know there's also a lot of cash on the sidelines, and investors de-risked because of the yen crisis and just general concerns about the summer. And so I think the Nvidia results plus the Fed in September is really the catalyst that is going to get some investors to actually follow through with the rotation. So I think we're early because, for instance, small caps, I know people think they're expensive, but the median PE of a Russell 2000 stock is still 10.7 times forward earnings. That's compared to almost 17 times for the S&P. So the small caps have a lot of room for multiple expansion.
As the dust begins to settle, the narrative surrounding Nvidia company continues to entice both seasoned investors and newcomers alike. Its current stock position, bolstered by a robust market cap and stellar innovations, projects an exciting path ahead. With strategic analyst predictions hinting at a continued growth trajectory, Nvidia stands firm as a titan in the tech industry. As you ponder your next move in this high-stakes game of stocks, consider Nvidia not just as a player, but a leader with momentum that promises to redefine market paradigms. What are your thoughts on Nvidia's future? Joining or staying sidelined in their journey might just be the pivotal decision every savvy investor needs to ponder today. Let's discuss. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen.